percent versus what it took last year. Have we had that story yet? Because I love that.
Not yet, but
it's
I'll
coming.
tell you about me. I'll tell you about me buying a turkey today if you want. It's pretty,
all right.
pretty
Lovely.
exciting. It's very Clark Howard. It's very Clark Howard-ish of me.
Clark, so you were a huge pain in the ass like Clark Howard. Here we go. How can you let those people work in those conditions?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right.
Right. You know, I always have my Panthers cup here to
Sure. Support the team.
I've been with them since they came into the league 6 years ago. So
big fan of the team 6 years ago.
Yeah, I know everything about them. Year one was
during the Trump years, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think we need to move this thing off the thing so that it won't be on the thing. Okay. Be good enough. All right. It is the Brad and Britt cast. Glad you're with us again. As always, we are doing this live in the 1:30 p.m. Eastern hour on Tuesday. Tuesday.
That's right. It's 2 for Tuesday.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird list here, but why don't we just start off about buying turkeys?
All right, let's do buying turkeys.
I saw this thing the other day saying, there might be they do this every year. There might be a turkey shortage. The price might be up, and you might be able to get your turkey early. So I said, all right, we'll get our turkey early here. And we have a section of our family that is demanding an organic turkey. Okay, not a tofurkey, not a turducken, but just an organic turkey.
Right.
Okay. They've been around for a while, and they're more expensive than non-organic turkeys.
But damn well worth it.
Non-organic turkeys are insulted, kicked, abused, starved, slapped, insulted, racially profiled.
Racially profiled.
Yes, they are. And organic turkeys get fantastic, very often vegetarian feed, and they have rooms the size of the Ritz, and they don't have to mess with each other. So that's the difference between. I know this stuff because I researched it. Okay, that's the difference. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I'm looking last night on the Google, and it's not quite as simple as you. I mean, you can get them prepared for you. Just give me a fucking frozen thing, like a bowling ball, frozen organic turkey. And I found the best price, and I found it at a place I'd never been to yet. And this is one of the two super low-end German grocery chains that are infecting the United States corner by corner because they're really good at what they do.
Why do you keep doing it that way? Why do you keep talking like that?
Well, that's a lead up to talk about Adidas and Kanye later. Okay, we're doing German stereotypes. Anyway, I'd never been to a Lidl, Lidl.
What'd you think of that one? Because I've been in that one like once.
I thought it was great.
It's pretty nice.
I thought it was great, and here's why: because I mentioned it in tandem with Aldi.
Yeah,
and of course, Aldi, reminds you, even if you've never lived in Manhattan, okay, or in the New York area, which just in general has shitty grocery stores, just in general,
right,
because of space and rent and all that other shit. It's just horrible there. an Aldi reminds you of a shitty New York grocery store with lower prices, but it's uncomfortable. It's a dreadful experience. You have to really suck it up to go, I'm saving money. All right. Was that a fair characterization of Aldi?
I think even I've been much harsher than that in the past, and I think it's gotten better there. But yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, no, they're trying. They're trying. But the other day, it's true. The other day, I go to the one. There's a couple pretty close to me, and I go to this one, and they have the problem of a squeaky automatic door, and I'm not just talking about the door is opening constantly because people are going in and out. And every time it does, okay, just like the whole store has to come to a stop over and over. And I thought, wow,
that's something.
Wow, this is the kind of thing that you really need somebody on speed dial with some oil to fix that. And I thought that's kind of low rent stuff. I guess it can happen anywhere. I understand that. But
this has been many years ago. When we were on WZTK, I went on a rant about how unpleasant it was to shop at Aldi. This would have been like 15 years ago. And it was one of those where I got the emails, I am never, ever listening to you again. Your mother is a whore. I hope you die. I mean, it was like one of the most controversial things. So I elaborated about why I thought it was just a terrible experience. It's like in a Turkish bazaar, and you got to bring your own things, and you got to slam everything on the table and try to, like a putz, put the stuff into bags and wheel it out. If you don't have a quarter, you're fucked. The whole thing. You would have thought that I insulted somebody's lineage. Okay,
but everything you just said is really arguable and largely true. But you suck it up to save the money, right? And actually, a lot of their products I think are really, really good. They're very high quality. I have no problem with their.
I agree.
But there's a close your eyes kind of mentality that you have to go through, especially if it's crowded in there. Good luck.
And then sometimes the other thing is they shove those things in not the best places, not the best parts of town.
Well,
the Aldi's
that's not necessarily true. I mean,
the one near you is great.
Do you think I live in a shitty part of town?
No, the one near you is awesome. The one near you is fantastic. I mean, it's one of the nicer ones I've ever seen anywhere.
I want you to apologize to my side of town.
Your side sounds great. I want you to head to the one to Randleman Road and tell me the same thing. Tell me how great it is over there.
Well, so if it was up to you, there would be food deserts where the neighborhoods are not up to Britt Whitmire's rather arrogant standards, right? Those people should have to shop at shitty little bodegas and pay $9 for a loaf of bread.
That's what I said.
Is that how
That's
that works?
Exactly what I said.
You and your elitist. This is why the Republicans are kicking your ass. Wait a minute. So the Lidl store, I found a way cut above. First of all, they don't go through the stick a quarter in the fucking grocery cart.
No.
They assume you're really not going to steal it. Whatever
That's
reason.
not the point. No, the point is they don't want to have to hire somebody to go wrangle those fuckers back. That's why Aldi charges a quarter.
Oh, if I would have known that, I would have left it out in the parking lot. Instead of bringing it back.
That's they're at almost any point in time. I don't think I've ever seen more than 3 human beings in an Aldi store at one time. Right? That's how they keep prices low. They don't hire anybody in there. And most of the time, it's 2.
I absolutely keep employment down, which is what makes America great.
Yeah.
But the Lidl's the aisles are wide. It's bright in there, and clean. They have a mix of actual brand name stuff and their own house brands, which I think is a lot more palatable. And I saw last night that they had the price on the brand name. It's Plainfield Farms or something, organic turkeys, no antibiotics, no nothing. $3.59 a pound, pretty good. So I drove over there and I got it, and there you go, off to the races. But it was a nice experience being in there.
It's great. It's very clean. It's very easy to get in and out. The parking lot is great.
Because we know how to shine our shoes very well. We're very clean people.
Let me tell you what is going on in the store. We have so low prices. Yeah, no, it's a good experience. And I don't know how Aldi gets it so terribly wrong, but they get it so terribly right at Lidl. For sure. So you're all set. You're all set on your turkey.
Yeah, it's in there right now. Let's see. Losers of the day.
Yeah.
Are ivermectin and ye. Yeah.
Why? I don't even want to call this guy ye. Fuck that guy being called ye. He doesn't get to get called by his own nickname.
Oh, so you're going to disrespect him now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe he's right. Maybe he's right about a few things. So he gets dropped today by Adidas, the German sporting goods company.
It took us a while.
They were, for some reason, the German company was the last one for which anti-Semitism was the knockoff point.
We thought we had gotten rid of the Jews so they would not be offended by anything. Turns out there are a few left.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the joke that Robin Williams told to Conan? He said he was in Germany one time, and a German interviewer goes, "Why is comedy not a thing in Germany?" And Robin Williams goes, "Well, did it ever occur to you you killed all the funny people?"
All right, that's too much.
Cancel Robin Williams.
Yeah, cancel Robin Williams. Let's do ivermectin first.
Sure.
Okay, because we're into about our 7th year of talking this way, and we're into about our 7th year of talking about what's going to happen at Thanksgiving if you're around Trumpers or they're in your family or someone invites one. How does that? And it seemed like we thought, say, right after the election for about 2 minutes, that maybe the next Thanksgiving in 2021 would be a little bit more. But it's never changed, right? Mm-hmm. For people that have had to go through that, I assume. And you got to keep dealing with it. You got to keep dealing. I mean, you got election deniers. And at Duke, one of our favorite universities, once again, they did a deep study on ivermectin, and they found that it don't do shit for people who have mild or moderate COVID. It doesn't work. It's just bullshit. Ivermectin, a drug once touted by conservatives as a treatment for COVID, does not meaningfully improve the recovery time for people with mild to moderate cases. Large clinical trial, peer-reviewed journal. And we know what they're all about. But does that matter anymore, Britt? Does it make any difference to talk about or report facts?
Let me do my imitation of Joe Rogan getting this news. 8 million, 9 million, what? Yeah. It doesn't really matter.
So you're the problem. I'm the problem. Duke University is the problem, and they are for a lot of things, but not for this.
No, for this they nailed it.
They studied at 93 different places. I mean, they went all. I mean, there's just no question about it. It's in the New England Journal of Medicine, and we know where they're coming from. New England. They also sternly warned against people taking ivermectin, designed for animals like horses and cows.
It's not the Duke medical people that are the problem. It's more the Duke law folks. Those are the real issue. That's the real problem.
Yeah, we like the medical school, the law school.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, back over to Kanye West, and Britt, Kanye West is one of those people, at least for me, that I have largely been able to completely ignore.
Oh, he was really good.
Every once in a while, for instance, if they throw him on Saturday Night Live, it takes me a good 2 or 3 seconds to hit the fast forward when his music is on or something like that. So I am exposed to him kind of like that. But other than that, I have no interest. None whatsoever.
He used to be a hell of an artist. He put out a couple of really, really good albums.
You know what? I don't think I would enjoy them even if they were touted as Rolling Stones, one of the top 12 albums of all time.
You might be surprised.
It would be my thing.
You might be quite surprised. He's very good. There's a couple of really good ones. And then I have a theory. I think Kim Kardashian's ass destroys people. I think that NBA guy that she was with, I think he was on an upward trajectory.
Chris Humphries.
Yeah,
Chris Humphries.
I think he crashed and burned after meeting her ass. And I think.
Wait a second. Hold it. See, you're supposed to murder me for saying, why do you know the name?
I love this. This is so great. Humphries. This is so great.
You're supposed to get me on this because I'm not supposed to know about it because I just said I've ignored everything about Kanye West.
Here's what just happened.
You blew it. You were like the Charlie Crist, and I'm DeSantis. You had a chance to kill me, and you let me off the mat.
Here's what just happened, in case you missed it. Oh, fuck Kanye West. He's terrible. I wouldn't listen to him if I was on a desert island and they shoved him up my ass. But Chris Humphries, now that was a pretty good little guy. He had a pretty good jump shot there. I liked him with the Celtics. Now that's different.
All right, so the big question now that Kanye West has been dropped by Adidas, which must have been paying him a fortune. Apparently, he was responsible for about 10% of their sales. He was a big spokesperson for them. So, question is, will his record deal go down the tube? He's with a Universal Music Group. They're one of the big. Or is it 2 or 3 that's left that has everything?
I don't think that one's going to matter either. I think he'll just self-publish or whatever. I don't think it's going to matter. But then it's going to be up to wait. Then it's going to be like, is Spotify or Amazon or whoever going to carry his music? They're going to stream his catalog. That's going to be the real question, and then
people like you, Britt, you'll find a way to hear him because he's that good.
No, I'm downloading it now and squirreling it away. No, again, this will be Spotify, which is such a proponent of free speech, Brad. They'll just have to continue to stream his music because they just believe in that sort of thing.
So I have not dove into this story too hard. But this is legitimate cancel culture as far as I'm concerned, and it isn't anything new. If you're that bad, you're going to fuck your life up. And so he's just getting, as far as I'm concerned, what he deserves. However, we have to pretend now that we're right-wingers. We're on talk radio. We're those people now. Is Kanye West been proven correct here? Because so many of the people who run the organizations who have said to him, no mo business with you, the record executives, probably some people in they might actually be Jews, and so therefore it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. His criticism, if you want to call it that, is just anti-Semitic shit. Is they run the world, they control everything, blah blah, and now he is being subject to, quote, being controlled by the world, which, by the way, is not all Jews. There just aren't enough Jews. See, this is the problem with the whole idea. There really aren't enough Jews in the world to do what they're purported to do in running everything. There just aren't. Okay, I think I think it's like 19 million in the whole world. That's it. That's all you got. That's what. That's just 2/3 of the entire population of Florida, right? There's like 30 million people. It's not that many people. But even if it was, wouldn't matter. But you get the point. Who's coming to his defense? Is anybody?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me. I'll give you a name, and you won't be surprised by this at all, because I'm the former Kansas City Star reporter and national sports figure of an asshole, Jason Whitlock.
Oh. Well, and I assume that the Nazis and the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists and all those are they're the biggest Kanye West fans ever, because he says exactly what they say, right?
Right.
So they've got a brother in arms there, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be part of his fan club. Has Trump said anything about this?
I don't think so. I mean, it's also fairly clear to anybody that's been watching Kanye West for a while, but there are some people who are exploiting him and his mental illness, his rather clear mental illness. Again, not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist, never been to medical school. I think that's a fairly easy diagnosis. Just me. It just feels like it. There are a fair number of people that are doing pretty well, kind of trotting that guy out there and letting him be mentally ill for the world to see.
I don't know whether that's Britt. That's not mental illness.
Well, it's not an excuse. I'm not saying it's
no,
an excuse.
Because he's saying these, were all the Nazis mentally ill? No.
Well, no,
they weren't.
It's not an excuse.
And by the way, are all the neo-Nazis in the United States and the white supremacists mentally ill?
No, but this is just the latest manifestation of his mental illness that's been going around for a while.
But you keep talking as if it's a given that he is.
Oh, I think he is. I think last year and earlier this year, when he was making all sorts of public remarks about wanting to murder Pete Davidson, to me that was a manifestation of his mental illness, and it's been around for a while. And I think he's actually copped to it. But yeah, there are a few people that are out there who are on his entourage that are happy to go ahead and roll him out there and make a few bucks off of him. Now, it may be a little harder to make a few bucks off of him these days because there are some reports that perhaps he's spending money a little bit at a greater rate than he's bringing it in, and now it might be a little bit harder to make that money. But no, I can't in any way support him, and I don't know how people actually continue to say, oh, this is just a free speech issue. I don't understand how people are continuing to do that, but that's what a few people are continuing to do.
Well, those all can't be simultaneous. Okay. If you're going to attribute his public stances on things via Twitter and in interviews to mental illness, at the same time looking the other way until it reaches some level, then does he have guns? We have to ask that, because does he have access to guns? I'm just guessing. This is just a crazy guess. Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Right. So, and then that would be a logical next part of this story, wouldn't it?
Well, again, there's a certain number of people, one of them who was running for the United States Senate from the state of North Carolina, who would hate to see Kanye have less than unfettered access to firearms. Correct?
Oh, you're blaming the white guy, Ted Budd, huh?
By the way, in case you missed it, Barack Obama officially endorsing the Sherry Beasley.
Wow,
the video this morning.
Sweating that one out.
Yeah. Well, you might want to get with their campaign because they thought it was a big deal and released it in a video on their social media accounts today. Meanwhile,
has he been here? Has he been in this state to campaign for her?
Not that I'm aware. I feel like that would have made news, and you and I would have been attuned to that.
Yeah, I was asking rhetorically because I don't understand why.
Yeah,
he has skipped over this state. Well, at least so
far.
Per
your most recent sarcastic remarks, well, it was because there was no question he was going to support her. So why would he even come? The Manning brothers last night on their Manning.
Wait! No, you're not going to get away with that.
Yeah, sure I am.
Since you
logic, were like, "Whoa, I'm so glad."
The logic would be the only reason he would come is if he hadn't yet endorsed her, and that would no. You're coming to be here to generate excitement and show solidarity with her.
Explain how endorsements work to Barack Obama.
That's just a given. That's irrelevant. So you can't get away with that one.
Explain how endorsements work to Barack Obama. That's good. That's pretty.
Well, but it's not. It's not a big thing. but the only thing that matters is his presence, his ability to talk straight to people. Have you seen the video that he's put out? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, 60 seconds.
And the funniest part of it is apparently I'm the only one that's noticed this. The first thing he says out of his mouth is, I think he says, "My name is Barack Obama. I was the president of the United States 10 years ago." Okay. Well, that's kind of funny, but in a way it's sort of not, because what it is, it's a reminder. It's a reminder of just how quickly things move and how many people have grown up now just in the years that Obama left office. It's 6 years almost, who have no memory of him as president. Okay. And they're of voting age now. They barely remember him. And so he's saying that tongue in cheek because he's still one of the most recognizable people in the world. But the fact that he said it kind of does say something. It's 6 years from now. If LeBron James retires and he does it, hi, I'm LeBron James. I used to play basketball. Right.
Over, right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's over.
This is the Manning cast last night, Monday Night Football. Barack Obama trying to get people to vote, and the Manning brothers just trying to watch a really fairly mid, as the kids say, Monday Night Football game. The Manning brothers trying to just watch the Patriots lose in a terrible game to the Chicago Bears. Did you go vote yesterday, Brad?
I didn't yet.
Oh.
I didn't yet because I was running around today buying turkeys.
Yeah, and
getting money orders for various reasons that I had to get at the post office. So
I went yesterday, and I want to make sure you get one of those Nito pens that they give out to you.
Now, did you see any attempt by creepy people to intimidate you, take pictures of you, glare at you, anything like that?
I had one woman give me the Republican voter guide. I immediately handed it back to her as she encouraged me to pass it around to my friends. I went, no, you just recycle this. No. And here in Guilford County in North Carolina, they're still handing out 2020 pens from the 2020 election cycle. Just thought I'd bring that up to you. 2-year-old pens.
Well, why not? Should they just be thrown out?
They should be thrown out. Just because they can't afford any new ones because Joe Biden has driven up the price of pens so much due to inflation. Thanks a lot, Biden.
Well, that's true.
Thank you, Biden.
Absolutely true.
No, I did vote yesterday, and it was very easy, and it took 5 seconds, and I was not intimidated in any way. I do like going to go vote because it is one of the few places I can go and feel like I'm the youngest guy in the room when the people, the poll workers are a little bit older than me. I'm like, hey, I'm the young guy now.
And guess what? That won't last.
No, it won't. It won't.
Always temporary.
Yeah.
It's way more temporary.
I talked to my people that I've known for a number of years ago. Do you have the pleasure of now working with people who are old enough to be your children? They go, yep. Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. It's a great feeling.
All right. How about non-Wizard of Oz versus Lurch tonight?
Wow.
Yep.
Let's do that one.
Pennsylvania debate tonight. Dr. Oz and John Fetterman tonight, and he will have the captioning device to be able to quickly and more easily process the words coming at him, which, as you know, and they won't say it out loud, but they want you to think. That means he's not capable of being a U.S. senator. I want you to think about how stupid that is.
It's pretty stupid.
I want you to think how dumb that is, especially if you want to play the what about game, which is what about the several, it's not one, it's several senators who are near death. They are at death's door every day that they walk in to do their jobs. Fortunately, some get it and decide to walk away. For instance, I'll give you a name, Pat Leahy of Vermont. He's been a member of Congress and a senator for practically forever, as long as I can remember. I believe he's in his mid-80s, and he's not running for re-election. That would be up in Vermont. Remember, in Vermont, Bernie Sanders is the junior senator. Because Pat Leahy is substantially older.
That's great.
So Bernie Sanders becomes the senior senator when Pat Leahy gets replaced. But then on the other hand, you have people like Dianne Feinstein, who is apparently it's just mashed potatoes now between her ears. Sad to say, not to make. I'm not trying to insult mashed potatoes. I'm really not.
Here's my Thanksgiving tip for mashed potatoes. Ready? Use buttermilk. Use buttermilk. My mother gave me that tip many years ago, and it's a winner.
Right. So she's I think she's 89 and still has 2 years to go on whatever term of office she is in. I think she's been elected about 6 or 7 times. And Charles Grassley, I believe, is 89 in Iowa. And if we're lucky, he'll lose. He's running for re-election, and he's running against a guy who's really, really good, a really smart Democratic candidate there. And the polls are, in the case of Chuck Grassley, uncomfortably close. He's not used to this kind of challenge. But Grassley's 89, so he would be 95 or 96 if he were to serve out his term. And just to give you an idea how long Grassley has been, not just in Congress, but just in the Senate. I believe he was in Congress for about 20 years before he became a senator. And the year he became a senator was the year I had my first morning show gig in Des Moines, Iowa. So I was in Iowa in 1981, and Grassley had just been elected in November of 1980. So it's all these years later, and he has had that job ever since then. Think about that, okay? That's 42 years of being a senator, and he was a congressman, I think, for about 20 years before that. So he has been in elective office for Iowans for 60 fucking years.
When do you think he entered the United States House of Representatives?
I thought it was about 20 years before that. It was about in like the 60s, right?
No, it says 75. He said he was elected. He was sworn in 75. Which, by the way, that's 47 years ago. It's quite a. It's quite a
probably
way.
Like a local. He was probably like a local yokel before that.
Yeah, yeah. He was. Yeah. That's exactly right. 47 years. So that's quite a ways.
So to talk about John Fetterman, considerably younger than those guys, who had a stroke, and many people have strokes. Younger people have strokes these days. It isn't reserved for just old people. And most of them recover quite well. The technology and medical science, probably from places like Duke University, has advanced to the point where you're going to recover fine, you're going to have a productive life, and there's no... But because this is politics, and the interesting part of it is that the opponent, Dr. Oz, has done heart surgery on people and is very familiar with the issues that Fetterman faces. So what is he doing? He's lying. He's demagoguing it, and he's pretending that Fetterman there's just no fucking way the guy can serve. And he had the stroke about 4 months ago,
right?
Not 4 months ago, and he's recovering, I think, at a great rate, a good speed, very typical of a person who is paying attention to what they need to pay attention to and has obviously the best medical care that money can buy. And he's used it to his advantage, and the technology is there to help him along. And I would just hope that nobody in Pennsylvania falls for this. And how is Oz going to play this? He can't do dog whistle subtle digs at Fetterman's health, because Fetterman he'll call him out in 2 seconds for doing.
It's got to be big stuff. It's got to be very overt stuff.
He has to stick with the issues, and Fetterman is going to bait him. I think Fetterman's going to bait him because he can bait him on so many things, including, not the least of which, that he's really not a Pennsylvanian, which is always a good. I mean, Tim Ryan is using that against J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, hardly an Ohioan these days. He's more of a Silicon Valley, hanging out with Peter Thiel and those Silicon Valley fuckfaces way more than he is someone who can relate to the working class people of Ohio. In other words, the white folks who don't have a college education, who may have suffered a job loss in the last few decades. And Tim Ryan, he's right in there with them. He is one of them. He talks like them. He acts like them. He is them. And I would be really, really disappointed. I'd be really disappointed if Ohio went for J.D. Vance. This is a state that's reelected Sherrod Brown, who, for all intents and purposes, is a clone of Tim Ryan. He really, really is. He's a ruffled, working class guy who speaks plain English and addresses the needs of people all over that state, regardless of their party. And Tim Ryan is in that same mold, maybe even more so. And it would be that would be a tragic loss. That would be a tragic loss to see that seat stay Republican with J.D. Vance, who is, you talk about selling your soul to the devil. My God, he did it. He certainly did it.
And so despite all of these polls that are showing a lot of Republican momentum, you talk about perhaps Grassley being in trouble and all this stuff. I know that
I think we're in a way less predictable moment than the polls are showing. I mean, here you go on 538 today. Most candidates who think 2020 was rigged are probably going to win in November. And there's no arguing with the fact that some of these people, some of the worst, and I remember hearing about this woman, Anna Paulina Luna, down in Florida. I think she's run a couple of different times for Congress, and she never gets out of the starting blocks. And apparently she's about to win. The way 538 does it is they do how many chances out of 100 is this person likely to win? And she's at 97 out of 100 chances. The way they run their simulations,
they run the model. They run the model 100 times. She wins 97 of those times.
Right. So she's one of the worst of the worst because she's flat out said, Joe Biden is not the president. Donald Trump won this election, and I do believe that voter fraud occurred. She says these things, but the godforsaken state of Florida is all in for her, at least in that particular district, which I'm sure was gerrymandered for your safety and comfort.
Yeah,
if you're a Republican.
President Biden having some fun with the polls in front of a group of people saying Republicans ahead, Democrats ahead, Republicans ahead, disputing the reliability of those polls ahead of the election.
What's it going to say? Well, you know what? The polls are right. We give up.
We're out. Fuck us.
It's not news when
I'm going to head up to Rehoboth Beach. I'll see you guys when it's all over. We'll figure out how many seats we got left.
It doesn't work that way. But 2 weeks is a long time. Things can actually still happen, and I think there are going to be some upsets in both directions. The real recriminations are going to be in any particular case where the Democratic strategy of elevating the worst candidate possible, who was thought to have been unelectable, gets elected, and then of course it'll be the end of the world. That'll be the end of the world.
That's kind of, but you knew, you said it at the time. They were playing with fire on that whole situation anyway.
Well, I know they're playing with fire, and it was never guaranteed to work. But you know what the answer to that is? The answer to that is this is what we thought would work, and we knew if the Republican nominee was a quote unquote reasonable Republican, we had no chance whatsoever. So this is what we did. Does it work every time? No. In Pennsylvania, Doug Mastriano is getting his ass kicked. He's down by more than double digits, and Josh Shapiro will be the next governor of Pennsylvania. That's important because that has to do with counting the votes, and I think the Secretary of State, it might be one of those states where he gets appointed by the governor. So, So if Mastriano would have been elected governor, which I don't think he's going to be, Pennsylvania could be a full-blown basket case in 2024, where a Republican must win, or we will fix the results and we will have fake electors and the whole thing. So in this case, in the governor's race in Pennsylvania, it's working pretty well. I don't think that Dr. Oz was considered that kind of candidate, and Dr. Oz, I don't believe, was elevated by a Democratic
No, he
campaign.
wasn't, but he could easily turn into one of those very dangerous election denying people, for sure.
Oh, I'm not questioning that, but if he wins, it won't be because the Democratic strategy there elevated him.
No.
And by the way, again, there was the guy that he beat, that guy from Philadelphia, who was a down the middle, mainstream, good quality Republican kind of guy.
Right.
Probably would have had a much better chance of beating John Fetterman. So if Oz squeaks by, it won't be for the reason that we were just talking about there.
David McCormick was the guy he defeated.
Right. McCormick was a solid guy, Republican, not a nut.
A CEO, kind of a country club Republican, really.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I don't know what the fuck Oz is. I think like insane Martian. I don't know what. I have no idea what that guy is. I have no idea what you would call him. Let's go back. We finish up with some more on the Trump Woodward tapes that have been released. I don't know why I keep calling them tapes. I guess it's because they're calling them tapes.
That's okay.
But maybe he did use a tape recorder. I don't know. Trump very upset now. Loses it on Bob Woodward for releasing the tapes of their interviews. He had no right to use my voice.
Oh, stop. That, you know what? Hang on. I need a seatbelt on this chair so I don't fall off of it laughing.
It's beyond parody. One of the interesting pieces of the recordings, the transcripts that they've had now, is that Bob Woodward was talking to Trump about a plan for COVID. He goes, Bob, I got 106 days. If I release it too far ahead of the election, it's not going to help me out with the re-election. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, you dumbass? Why would I do anything now about COVID? I got to wait till we get close to the election. Then I'll put something out there that will help me win re-election.
Right. And I saw Woodward last night. He and this other guy, Bernstone, were
never heard of him.
Bernstone.
Would Kanye enjoy him?
Yeah. And he was describing the whole situation with COVID going back to January and February of 2020, when Trump would just flat out lie, not just to Woodward, but he told this story to Woodward about little Barron, who at that time was, I don't know how old he was, pretty young, asking Daddy, what's going on here? And Trump lied to Barron. He lied to him over COVID and the whole issue. He told the same lie to his kid that he told to the country. He spun it, he lied, he bullshitted. And you know,
well, he's 16 now. He would have been like 14.
Yeah.
He's like 14 and maybe a little younger than that.
So, but the rule is with Donald Trump, you're never too young to be lied to by him. Okay.
Well, he told Woodward very early on, and that's been out there for a while, that it's a lot worse than people say. But I don't want to panic anybody. I don't want to get anybody all up in arms on this, and I'm trying to play it cool, Bob.
No. And I think Woodward's talked about having long talks with Dr. Redfield and Fauci, and of course they were exasperated with Trump from the first minute over this. From the first minute.
They're putting flashing red lights in front of his face, and he's just not there. He's not getting it.
Yeah. So what does that mean? It means he needs to be renominated. Don't you think?
Absolutely, possibly.
Britt, don't you think that everyone deserves a second chance?
Oh, sure.
I think they do.
Especially very rich white guys. They deserve second chances more than anybody.
Yeah. So I understand that they had House Crusade a little bit of a difficulty in the first day of jury selection in New York, trying to rustle up people who would say flat out, of course I can be objective about Donald Trump, because being objective about Donald Trump is like asking, are you objective about cancer? Are you for it or against it? What do you think? So they did throw some people to the curb who let it all out there, and that's the horrible underbelly of the whole idea that Trump, if and when he does get indicted by the real Justice Department, not just getting raked over the coals in front of the House committee, but if he really gets indicted, that means a jury has to be picked. And the chances that no matter how well you vet people, that you don't have one pretty good liar who wiggles his way onto a jury to acquit Donald Trump of everything and anything, it's a real consideration for Attorney General Merrick Garland. It really, really is. And if he makes the decision to not go forward with indictments just based on that, it's going to be trouble. It's one of those, I would understand it, but I could not accept it. Yeah. Because you have to go through with the process. Because, and let's play this out, let's role play this out. Let's say they do indict Trump for the documents that he stole, for obstruction of justice, all these kinds of things that we know he's just guilty as sin of, for being truly the kingpin of January 6th. All these kind of things that we know. I mean, pick one, pick more than one. And a person gets in there and says, I don't think he did anything any other president hasn't done. It doesn't prove anything to, whatever a bullshit artist would say, to not go along with, say, 11 other jurors who heard the evidence and it was incontrovertible. And we know that Trump is guilty. Let's say that happens. Is that the worst thing in the world? Is that worse than letting him just walk away from all of this with no trial, no accountability, no nothing? For instance, was O.J. Simpson, after he was acquitted in the criminal trial, was he considered, well, I guess he didn't do anything, guess they acquitted? No, because we knew. And I think you have to take that. It's actually not a bad comparison, O.J. and Trump. It's just Trump hasn't gotten blood on his hands and couldn't drive a Bronco if he had to. I don't think O.J. drove it either. Where's Al Cowlings these days? Where is his old buddy?
Hopefully he's dead. Hopefully he's dead and in hell, but I'm not sure exactly where Al Cowlings is. He's probably test driving cars.
That's my question. Would it at any level be better to not go through this, to quote, put the country through a trial, if Trump were to be acquitted because of one juror, or be a hung jury, or whatever the ways mafia people seem to be able to skate? Although in the end, most mafia people get nailed. They don't all walk unscathed.
But I think that's your point, and I think that is the sick point, is that all of the legal problems that Donald Trump seems to be having, they seem to enhance his luster within the Republican Party and within his followers. They love him that much more the more trouble he gets into.
Well, but you can't, Merrick Garland, think of him what you would. I don't think he's thinking, I don't want to do this, it'll enhance his.
I get that.
No,
Merrick Garland can't account for all the stupid people out there.
No, that's right.
Al Cowling, 75 years old and apparently living with the symptoms of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, Brad.
He's a CTE boy, huh?
One of those guys. So we don't know exactly how he is. But again, thoughts and prayers, as we ended with yesterday. Thoughts and prayers to the Cowling family.
Yeah, that's a good place. That's a good place to end on the name of someone who would be the most unlikely person we would talk about today at all, right? Would definitely be on the bottom.
Well, Chris Humphreys. We'll see you tomorrow.